Good morning, good morning, good morning, everybody. I am so excited to be here this morning because I have an amazing woman with me today. Her name is Danna Demetre. And Danna is an amazing woman of God. She is an author, speaker, mother, grandmother, grand dog mother. She wears so many hats. You may or may have not have seen her before. She's been on the 700 Club. She's been on various platforms speaking a message of hope. And Danna, I want to welcome you to the show today.
Thank you, Maggie. Pleasure to be here. Your sparkling energy is infectious.
Well, I just love getting with like-minded people and sharing with the viewers different ways where they can just overcome. I'm all about spirit, soul, and body. So when I ran across your material, I was like, these women, they get it. They get it. Absolutely amazing. And for those of you watching, you might be going, well, how did you find out about her? I actually, by happenstance, met her daughter at the chiropractor's office. She told me about her mom. I went to her website because I was so impressed with what she was saying. Her daughter actually was telling me about her being an author and a speaker. And so I ran across this. This right here is a game changer. It's a life changer. There was a challenge taking place, and we're all up to a good challenge. So I logged in. They have an amazing app, and I loved what they're saying and doing because it lines up with everything that I believe in. So Danna, tell me about the health journey. How did you become a health and wellness coach?
Oh, goodness. Well, going back before, I even was out of high school, I actually, struggled with my own weight issue, my own body image. I didn't grow up in a Christian home. And so I had wonderful parents and they were not pressuring me or anything. I'm 68 years old. So think back to the 60s, the early 60s. I was, just kind of an average kid. But as I hit my teen years and, 13, 14, 15, I started to think I was fat. And so I started to diet. At about 14 years old, I started to diet. I'm going to make this long story short. By the time I was in my senior year of high school, I was actually binging and purging, sometimes 3 or 4 or 5 times a day. I ended up going to nursing school to become an RN, ironically. And at the time, I was in such a struggle. It's like, all I wanted to do was lose 5 or 10 pounds, and I became a raging bulimic and probably gained 20, 25 pounds in the process because you just can't purge all the food you eat. I was eating enough to feed a third world country some days. And so, I was just in this downward spiral and I couldn't find a way out. So I started taking diet pills. And back in the day, we were buying them from kids at school in high school. It's been a problem for many, many years. Back then, it wasn't quite as bad as amphetamines, but all that to say, I would cycle between the bulimia and the diet pills, and I just felt so out of control. By the time I'd been going through this cycle for 5 or 6 years, I'm actually in nursing school and all that. I started to have unrelenting panic attacks. And I share this story because you asked me how I got there. Well, I know the battle, the panic attacks. I thought I was losing my mind. I thought I was dying, and they actually led me to Christ. I felt like, what is wrong with me? Nobody can help me. I was going to counselors and doctors. I thought I thought I was dying. And long and short, the one and only woman in my life that I would have back then called religious, because she was the only one that I knew that went to church, and I didn't know Jesus, so I called it religious. I called her one night in a massive panic attack. I literally felt like I was dying. And I was like, Tonette, this is Danna Demetre. I don't know if you remember me, but do you know God? I literally like, I've got to reach God right now. How do you dial 911 God, And this beautiful woman introduced me to Jesus. And I will say, I wanted him, of course, he saved me in the moment of belief. But he began the transformation process, not like you want right now with a snap of a finger. But over the years, he showed me the power of Romans 12 to be transformed by the renewing of our mind, how we can change our thinking. And I ended up, being a nurse, and I literally just absorbed everything I could to renew my mind, come out of bulimia, come out of the panic attacks. He gave me a scripture, 2 Timothy 1:7, during those panic attacks as a brand new believer. Many of you know it. For God has not given us a spirit of fear, but of power and love and a sound mind. And that was like, oh, that was everything, like water in the desert for me. And I learned about how not only our mind renews spiritually, but it also changes physiologically. And because I was a nurse and I loved physiology, I learned about the brain. And so, as you know, having read the book, we dedicate 2 full chapters to how we can change our habits from the inside out biblically. So I share all that, Maggie, long story. How did I come to write a book? And I wrote, I've been writing books for, I don't know, since the early 2000s. I'm a late starter. But because I just have a passion to really help women come out of bondage. So many women are bondage to food, to unhealthy body image. I certainly was. It was years of unraveling, but I really know that if I had known some of the things I know now, it would not have been quite such a long journey. I mean, God gave me little victories all along the way. And we love helping women find victory, body, soul, and spirit. So that's my story.
I love it. I love it. And I think that most of us, I think the enemy comes in at a very young age and starts to pick at us with our self-image. You're not pretty. You're not strong enough. You're not skinny enough. You're not fat enough. You're not, I was incredibly underweight for many years. I wish I could say that right now, not underweight, but I want to be at a healthy weight. But I never broke 100 pounds until I would have my kids. And people would make statements to me like, you're so skinny, are you on drugs? And, at some point I could have said yes, but the reality was I had that same experience, not to the point of bulimia, but substance abuse as a result of low self-image. So it is a root thing that can manifest in a lot of different ways. So look what the enemy meant for harm and turned around for good, though.
Absolutely. I mean, for years, whether I'm speaking about health and wellness or relationships, whatever, this whole concept of renewing our minds is powerful. Our perspective needs to come from the Word of God, not from what the world is telling us. The world is telling us, as you said, the enemy is telling us, the world is telling us, and guess what? We are also telling ourselves. And that's the scary part, is that I think often the enemy doesn't have to do anything because we're doing such a good job for him.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And so that's part of, when we talk with our clients, we have Ageless Women, Eat, Live, Thrive Academy, where we do more personal coaching, like we're doing right now on video. We might be meeting with 30 women, but we say, stop saying, I'm going to try to do this or try to do that. What we're all doing is we're training. And, any skill that you're going to learn, to include learning the Bible and how to, understand it and study it properly. It's a skill that you train for. You don't just change overnight without learning how to practice that skill. If you're trying to learn how to ski or play tennis or anything else, it takes time. And so they're learning to change their language and celebrate every little small step, because so often women think, I'm just a failure, and they believe they're a failure. Guess what? It makes them fail, because it's a self-fulfilling prophecy, because we really are what we think. That's how God designed our brain, and the human brain, the most dominant thought wins. So what does he tell us to do? Take our thoughts captive to the obedience of Christ. And so that's so much of what we're doing. Of course, we're teaching people how to eat healthfully for their body, because there's not one size fits all approach to diet and lifestyle.
Wow. And that is why I love the material so much, because it is true. And we create those neural pathways in our brains, and we self-sabotage on a regular basis. And like you said, this self-fulfilling prophecy. And then we go and speak it to existence. And then, we're like, we know that power of life and death is in the tongue, but so many times we speak things over ourselves, and it's a constant thing to be aware of. And, we were talking for a few minutes before the broadcast, and I so appreciated your encouragement. It brought light to me at the moment, because I was like, yes, because I want to be successful in taking care of temple maintenance. I want to take care of the temple. I mean, my goodness, tell the viewers again how old you are. I think that I heard you wrong.
No, 68. I am 68. And, I feel blessed. I was actually diagnosed with early stage breast cancer this year. It's not that I have perfect genes or anything like that. And I've done a lot of healthy things, but my mom had it at 56. I ended up having it at 67. But Maggie, that's the thing. I want women to know you can realize your best health, vitality, your best. When I say best body, I don't mean that we're supposed to look like some Victoria's Secret model, but we can have so much more health, vitality, and feel and look younger when we take good care of ourselves. And you don't have to be an absolute raging fanatic either. People know, I eat a little bit of chocolate. I eat, my weakness, I love crunchy salty. But what I try to do is find those crunchy salty things that are healthy for me. Even if I'm going to have a chip, it's going to have avocado oil or coconut oil and sea salt and not a bunch of inflammatory oils. And I eat them in moderation. But we can have, Robyn and I, my co-author and ministry partner, we want women to enjoy food. God gave us taste buds to bless us. He didn't have to do that. All of our senses to bless us, the sounds that we can hear, the things that we can see, the smells, the feel, the touch, and the taste. But the taste gets us in trouble sometimes because it's so good. But that being said, it's not about taking away the pleasure of eating. God wants us to enjoy it. Look at how he takes food and mealtime. And it is this beautiful picture of what heaven's going to be. And we've got the wedding supper. And so it's finding that healthy place to be. And it can be done. And that's the most important message. I don't care how many times you've failed. I don't care how many times you've lost the 10 or 15 or 20 and gained it back, you being all of you out there, and me too. You can make amazing progress. You can really feel better and shed, you don't have to shed all the weight that the world says you have to look like. Right. I have a motto, Maggie, my life motto, and it applies to every area really, where you're looking to grow as a woman, and it's do the right things for the right reasons and trust God with the results.
Ooh, that's good. Say it again. Say it again.
Do the right things for the right reasons and trust God with the results. So let's just say on this lifestyle side, the right things are eating to nourish our bodies and to enjoy it while you're doing it, but looking at food as, does this build me up or tear me down? Mm. And the right reasons obviously is health, but it's also to glorify God. Yes. It says, present your body as a living sacrifice, holy and pleasing to God, he being Paul. And he says, this is a spiritual act of worship. So we can actually worship God by taking good care of ourselves. That doesn't mean if we decide every once in a while to have a little piece of cheesecake, we are totally dishonoring God. It means that in the big context of how we care for ourselves, we are very moderate in the things that are purely for taste and very intentional in the things that build up our health and wellness. Because the only reason I feel and look younger than I am, I think, is because I've done most of this consistently. Thank God. I treated my body so poorly into my 20s. And even in my 30s, even though I was no longer bulimic, I was what I would call an exercise bulimic because I was not binging and purging anymore, but I was more concerned with my weight and my body's shape than I was my health. Of course, when you're in your 30s, sometimes you are. I want to warn you girls that are younger. 40s, 50s, 60s are just around the corner because I blinked my eyes. I was just 48. I don't know, 20 years ago. Now my oldest daughter is 43 and Jill just turned 40, the daughter you met. So, it is just this journey and the right things. We know what they are, but sometimes we need a little help because sometimes we don't know. There's conflicting information out there. We're told not to have coconut oil. We're told not to have saturated fat. And what the American Heart Association told us, do you know who pays them, who funds them? And so they're the ones that told us to eat trans fats. And then guess what we found out? So we've got to unravel some of the misconceptions because there's so many good things we can do and some foods we can eat that we were told we couldn't. And then the trusting God with the results, of course, is like, okay, whether my goal is to be, a size 8 or this many pounds, if I'm doing the right things and I'm feeling good and my body's healthy, so I land at a size 10. And again, in any area of life, you have business or financial goals, you do the right things for the right reasons, you let God create the increase. He decides how financially successful your business is. You've got to do your part. but he is the one that ultimately is in control. I'm learning this. I'm a recovered type A, Maggie. So when I talk to all you about this, trust me, it's been a hard lesson learned.
Wow, that is so impactful. And I absolutely love that. I think that needs to be on a t-shirt. Do you have it on a t-shirt yet?
No, but I think I should, huh?
I think you should. Hashtag.
There you go. There you go.
I absolutely love it. And that's what I love so much about the book is it's not so focused on eat this, don't eat that, and so forth. However, it has those valuable information, including great recipes, y'all. If you do not have this book in your library, I encourage you. And I'm going to put in the chat stream where you can get it from. And guess what? Danna has agreed to give away a copy of this. Or did you say 1 or 2?
I said 3. We're going to do 3 copies. You tell them how they qualify.
Okay. They qualify by sharing this video out. And I will do a drawing first thing in the morning. And so we're giving you 24 hours to share it. Share it to your group, share it to your pages, share it to those who need a word of encouragement. Because listen, we all have to get this thing of balance in our life. We go from, as women, I think that many times because we wear so many hats, we do so many things that we are literally trying to just have this balancing act going on, but we don't do very good because we go to extremes. And I've seen that with women trying to get their weight under control, whether it's through diet or exercise or, and so forth. And there is a big component of that is the brain. And that's why I love what you guys do is it's so impactful and refreshing to see someone address the root issue. The renewing of the mind and having that. So along with the challenge that I took, not only do you document your exercise and you document your nutritional needs, you document your mindset. And that's powerful, very powerful. Talk about that for a minute, Danna.
Well, it's important, I think, some accountability. What you're talking about, Maggie, is we have an app that we partnered with a company that created a phone app. And we knew when we work and coach with our clients, we have live coaching via Zoom sessions a couple times a week. We have a private Facebook group. So we're connecting. But we really wanted the women to have some accountability to themselves and each other. So we partnered with this lovely phone app that we have our women that are taking part in some of these challenges log in 3 areas every day. One is diet, one is fitness, and one is mindset. And they get 3 choices within each. And they're put on teams of about 16 to 20 women. And it's not like super competitive where, oh my gosh, you failed, you didn't. It's really very encouraging because, again, we have this no shame zone mentality. When you come into the Eat, Live, Thrive community, we want you to know you need to go at your own pace. And while we do have a strategic, I hate the word diet, but we use the diet as the book because it is any way you eat every day is your diet. But there's a 3-phase approach which walks you through a process and you kind of cycle through it and ultimately end up in what we call lifestyle phase, which is figuring out what's working for you. But we want the women to just have some accountability. So what we did for the challenge you did, Maggie, 30-day, it was called the Slim Down Jumpstart, which we're going to have another one in October. We had them choose no grains, no added sugar for 30 days. That's level 1 of what we call our elimination phase. But if you think that's hard, it's not if you do the recipes, right? Because there's snickerdoodle muffins and lemon poppy seed cake and all these wonderful things that you feel like you're eating all those starchy grains and carbs, but you have so many other great foods. So they can choose to log that. Some of them were choosing intermittent fasting, short intermittent fasting to help jumpstart their metabolism, help them get a little control of the emotional eating and all that. Same with mindset. They would choose some healthy self-talk. I call it truth talk. And so we talked a lot in coaching in the book. What does that look like? How are you going to identify the lies you're believing so you can counteract them with truth? And then they had exercise options. They could get 10,000 steps in. They could do 30 minutes of aerobics. They could do 10 to 15 minutes of strength training. So what happened is the gals loved being accountable. And while they didn't do it perfectly, each day they could see this little circle on their picture icon filling in by the end of the week. If they got a check mark, they actually did get them all logged. But even if they didn't, they were like, this is keeping me on track. So we have found it highly beneficial to our clients and our participants in Eat, Live, Thrive. You know, we have people coming in who have been doing the Eat, Live, Thrive diet now for a long time and have lost 30 to 50, 60 pounds. We didn't even know them, but they decided they loved the accountability feature and signed up just to do that. And they're actually wonderful kind of assistant coaches because they've learned so well the lifestyle and the grace, that whole, we say get out of the shame zone where you shame yourself and fall off, you kind of fall off the grid when you feel guilty. No, that's when you come into community and the efforts and the ways to do it, and into the grace zone to give yourself as much grace as God gives you. And women are realizing that's setting them free, because then when they say mess up, they eat what they didn't plan to eat. They ate more than they planned. They didn't exercise for 2 days. They don't get stuck and go, there I go, I failed again, which is just self-fulfilling negative self-talk. They go, no, I'm on this team and a fresh start every day attitude. I'm in the grace zone. Learning to cut your losses while you're learning, while you're training to change your lifestyle is so powerful. And it actually moves you forward in more ways than you can imagine. And so that's why we did the app, and we're still doing it. Like I said, we have another 30-day challenge coming up. And then we have people within our Eat, Live, Thrive Academy that are actually on a 90-day journey right now in a team, because they're trying to do all 3 phases of the diet, not at the same exact day, but they're just encouraging each other. So it's like we get to coach each other. And community is so powerful, especially for women are connected creatures. Yes. And something about even just being on that app for a minute or 2 a day, it's like, oh, I'm not alone. And women will post. We encourage them to post, hey, I'm struggling today. Hey, I need prayer. And that's how we do it. We do it in community.
That was what was so attractive to me, is the fact that you all do put a high emphasis on prayer. I know I get emails on a regular basis, Tuesday prayer, and I just think that's so impactful. And being in the Zoom meetings live with you and Robyn was very apparent that this isn't just something that you guys are just doing. This is something you have lived. And that's why the title, Eat, Live, Thrive, it lines up with all of the things the Lord has done through your lives to bring the benefit to someone else. I love the scripture in Revelation where it talks about we overcome by the blood of the Lamb and the word of our testimony. And I'm a firm believer in community and transparency. And you all have brought that all together. And I believe that's why you see such a great success with the women that you work with. And I absolutely love it. So let's talk a little bit about the Academy, okay? For those that are wondering, what is this Academy? Because, maybe you're like, okay, I want to jump all in. I need, I am committed. I'm all in. What does that look like for them, Danna?
The Academy, you can find out all the information, since I can't tell you everything, but it's EATLIVETHRIVEacademy.com. But what it is it's just an opportunity for Robyn and I to get more connected. I think one of the biggest benefits is the live coaching. Twice a week, Tuesdays and Saturdays, we do live coaching. Women, we have people in New Zealand, in, Vienna, across the globe. And even if you can't make those live sessions, we record them, and women say that it is just like every week they get something out of it, because the women can ask questions. We can pray together, talk about what's going on. Sometimes, sometimes it's totally spiritual. Sometimes all we're talking about is food sensitivities and why carbohydrate thresholds, and why as women age, they can't eat what they used to eat, right? And it just depends on what's going on in the women's lives. But we're never at a shortage of what to talk about. And sometimes we have a lot of new people, and we're just helping them realize they're in the grace zone. And then the other thing, there's a private Facebook community for the Academy, and the women are so wonderful. We had one gal did this funny aerobic dance to some old, remember MC Hammer? She was hilarious. She posted that. They post recipes. Sometimes they post our recipes and share what they look like, but they post ideas. They find what they hope are healthy foods, and they post the picture of the food and the label, and we can coach. We spend a lot of time, even though we have YouTube channels and public Facebook pages. Robyn and I put our Academy first. So we go to that Facebook page first, and every day we're answering questions and engaging. And then there's a whole website that's dedicated just to the Academy, where we have additional modules, because even though people can read our book, they can listen to it on Audible if they want. Just having some coaching that, even though it's a video, it just expands. Yes. There's so much, you can only put so much in a book. And we're always researching. We're researching supplements. We're researching anti-aging. We're researching, we're just staying on top of what's going on and how to be as ageless as we can be despite our age, right? So that's what the Academy is. It's a community, but it's also a lot of extra support as part of what kind of starts with the book and goes so much further.
I love it. I love it. So ladies, if you're watching this, and even men, if you're watching this, get this hands into the people that you love. Sometimes everything that we watch, maybe you are at a good place and you're eating right and you're sleeping good. And, you're like, I have no health problems. I have no reason for this. Someone you know and love is struggling. And there are people out there that need community, and we heal in community. Like, Danna said, we literally, there's something about that iron sharpening iron. It's something about knowing that when I post that picture of that little weight or whatever it is I did, I tennis shoe, whatever it is I did today, that you just have that sense of accomplishment. And so I actually, when I came into it late because I found out about it and I was like, this is so cool. And so I messaged my friend Michelle and she hopped on with me and, we went for it. And right after that, how you just feel like, okay, there's a gathering. It's like, what am I going to take to eat? And of course, we were able to find things, and she made something out of the back porch of this recipe book. This is a resource, people. Resource. It's not a one and done. You don't read it and go, oh, that was a good read. No, this is something that needs to be close to your kitchen. There is literally every type of recipe in here, including sweet stuff. And she made the muffins, and they were so yummy. I couldn't believe it.
I know.
It just, it doesn't have to be I believe that, all things in moderation in a sense, and that a lot of times we set ourselves up for failure. And like you said, and then it's like, oh, I missed it or I screwed up again. Weeping endures for the night, but joy comes in the morning, and every morning is full of mercy and grace from the kingdom. So I just love the attitude, the vibe, the community, and I encourage y'all to take a look at it. I will go back. I put a few links in the chat stream already today, but I will go back and put some more in the chat stream. And I want to remind you that if you share this video, your name will go into a drawing. I'm going to do it tomorrow at 10 a.m. I should check my calendar before I go running my mouth, but I believe 10 a.m. And I will come on live with the 3 people that have won the 3 books that Danna has so graciously donated, because she wants to see you set free. It is for freedom that you're set free. And it's about progress, not perfection. You don't have to do it all right all the time. If so, you would be perfect, and none of us are perfect. So, wow. Danna, is there anything else? Like, if I was to ask you, if you could leave the viewers with one key, what would that key be?
I think it is really, don't let guilt and shame hold you back from taking that step into a healthy lifestyle. This is the only body, the only vehicle you'll have this side of heaven to get you around to live out your purpose. And it is important. I feel like years ago, God said to me, you know what, my girls are hurting in this area. If we can set them free in this area, they can live their life of purpose so much more effectively. So don't let past failure hold you back today. You can make changes. Give yourself a ton of grace for the journey. And just know our community's here if you feel like it's something that would be a good fit for you.
Excellent. I absolutely love it. Love the community and all that you do. And y'all, listen, it's hard to find good Christ-centered material. We hear a lot of faith-based stuff, but this is Christ-centered. This is an amazing place where you can grow in community and get some skills that you need for the long haul. So, Danna, I want to thank you and the viewers for logging on today, and we'll see you next time. Make sure you share to get in the drawing. God bless.